The dinner unfolded on a warm Saturday evening in late spring, the kind where the sun lingers just long enough to make the house feel cozy rather than stuffy. Mom had invited everyone over for what she called a simple pasta night, but it carried that unspoken weight of family gatherings. Everyone showing up because it's expected, plates passed with forced cheer, conversations skirting old tensions. The dining room smelled of garlic and tomato sauce, the table covered in a faded floral cloth that had seen decades of these meals. Chairs scraped against the hardwood as people settled in. My daughter sat right beside me in her pink booster seat, the one with the little cup holder she insisted on using, even though her sippy cup days were long gone. At 7, she still had that unfiltered joy about things, the way kids do before the world teaches them to guard it. She wore her favorite striped shirt, sleeves rolled up, and her hair in uneven pigtails I'd done that morning. She attacked her spaghetti with enthusiasm, sauce dotting her cheeks like freckles. Between bites, she kept glancing at me, eyes sparkling. "Mommy, the beach trip is gonna be so fun, right? I can build the biggest sandcastle ever!" I smiled back, wiping her chin with my thumb. "The biggest one on the whole beach, promise." We'd talked about it for weeks, waves crashing, collecting shells, burying each other's feet in the sand. She had already packed a tiny bucket and shovel in her room, just in case. Around the table sat the usual lineup. Mom at the head, wearing her apron like armor. Aunt Linda to her right, always quick with a laugh or a comment. Brother-in-law Marp across from me, quiet as ever, pushing food around his plate. And my sister, Sarah, directly opposite my daughter, glass of red wine in hand, posture relaxed but eyes sharp. The conversation drifted lazily. Traffic on the highway to the coast, which restaurants still had the best fish tacos, whether to bring extra beach towels or trust the resort's supply. Then my daughter bounced again, fork waving. "I can't wait to swim every day and make friends with other kids." Her voice carried that pure excitement that usually melted everyone. Sarah set her glass down slowly. She tilted her head, lips curving into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Slow, almost theatrical. "Oh, sweetie," she said, voice syrupy. "That trip is just for the real family." The room froze. Forks paused mid-air. A piece of garlic bread hovered near Mark's mouth. 1 second of absolute silence, thick enough to hear the wall clock ticking in the kitchen. Then Mom let out a short bark of laughter, like she'd been holding it in. Aunt Linda joined in, hand over her mouth, shoulders shaking. "Oh, Sarah," she managed between chuckles. Mark kept his gaze glued to his plate, cheek slightly flushed, saying nothing. My daughter's fork clattered against her plate. She looked from Sarah to me, confusion creasing her forehead. She didn't cry or yell, she just stared, processing. At 7, she understood tone more than exact words, and this tone felt wrong, sharp, exclusive. Heat rushed to my face, a mix of fury and protectiveness so intense my hands trembled under the table. But I didn't raise my voice, not in front of her. I folded my napkin deliberately, placed it beside my half-eaten meal, and pushed my chair back. The legs scraped loudly in the quiet. "We're going," I said, calm but final. I stood, walked around the table to the coat rack near the front door. My daughter slid down from her booster, confused but trusting, following me. I helped her into her light jacket, zipped it up, adjusted the collar. She clutched my hand tight. The entire exit took under 2 minutes. Behind me, Sarah's voice cut through. "Come on, don't be dramatic. It was a joke." I didn't turn, didn't answer, just opened the door, stepped onto the porch, and closed it softly behind us. The evening air hit cool against my skin, carrying the scent of cut grass from a neighbor's yard. We walked to the car in silence, my daughter's small hand in mine. I buckled her in, started the engine, and pulled away. The drive home stretched longer than usual in my mind. Street lights flickered on, casting orange glows across the dashboard. She fidgeted with the zipper on her jacket, then asked quietly, "Mommy, am I real family?" My throat tightened. I reached over, squeezed her knee. "You are the realest thing in my world, baby. More real than anyone else." She nodded slowly, leaned her head against the seat, and within 10 minutes, her breathing evened out into sleep. Watching her in the rearview mirror, cheeks smushed, pigtails askew, I felt something shift inside me. A door closing, locks turning. That shift had roots going back years. When I adopted her as an infant, the family reactions varied. Mom said all the right things. "She's beautiful, welcome to the family." But over time, the comments slipped in. "She's so lucky to have you." Not like having your own, but still wonderful. Sarah was blunter, jokes about borrowed kids at holidays, eye rolls when I defended her inclusion in traditions. I'd always swallowed it, laughed weakly, changed the subject, kept the peace. Paid for group gifts, hosted barbecues, organized events, because family, right? The beach trip started as my suggestion last winter. Everyone wanted a getaway, no one wanted logistics. Mom complained the resort site looked like hieroglyphics. So I booked it, under my name, my credit card, $500 deposit up front, then monthly payments. Total, $2,340 for the oceanfront suite. 3 bedrooms, full kitchen, balcony overlooking the waves. I'd already paid $1,600 already, scraping from my paycheck, skipping my own extras, so the family could have this memory. They laughed at dinner, assuming it was locked in. No one asked who covered what. No one thanked me. After tucking my daughter in that night, reading her extra pages from her favorite book, kissing her forehead twice, I sat on the couch in the dark living room. The hurt replayed. Sarah's smile, Mom's laugh, the way my daughter's face crumpled just a fraction. I opened my laptop, pulled up the resort portal, logged in, found the reservation, payment section, my card listed. Remove, confirm. A small warning popped up about potential impacts. I clicked yes anyway. Email confirmation arrived instantly. Payment method updated. I closed the screen, set the laptop aside, and went to bed. Sleep came easier than expected. No tossing, no replaying arguments in my head, just quiet. The next 3 days passed in ordinary rhythm. Work emails, packing lunches, helping with homework. No family contact. I didn't initiate any. The balance charge loomed. I knew the date from my payment schedule. They didn't. Then, Thursday morning, 6:03 a.m., my phone erupted. Texts first, then calls. Mom 17 times between 6 and 9. Voicemails stacking. The resort tried the final $740. Declined. Automated notice sent. 48 hours to update or reservation released. I read the resort email while drinking coffee, then sent one text to the family group. I removed my card after dinner Saturday. Rebook it under someone else's name if you want it. I'm not covering the trip. Silence for 20 minutes. Then the floodgates opened. By the time I dropped her at school and pulled into the parking lot at work, the notifications had started piling up. I didn't look until my first break at 10:30. 17 missed calls from Mom between 6:03 and 9:17 a.m. Voicemails stacked like accusations. I played the first one on speaker in my car, windows up. Call me back right now. The resort just emailed. Payment declined. What did you do? This isn't a game. Everyone's waiting on this trip. Fix it. Her voice cracked at the end, the way it does when she's trying to sound stern, but fear is underneath. The second, I don't understand you sometimes. It was a silly comment at dinner. Sarah didn't mean anything by it. You're blowing this up into something huge. The kids are so excited. Don't do this to them. By the fifth voicemail, the tone had hardened. You're punishing the whole family over one joke. That's not who I raised. Call me. I didn't call. I deleted the voicemails and opened the group text thread instead. Sarah had replied first, 20 minutes after my message. Seriously, you're that fragile? One offhand remark and you tank the entire vacation? Grow up. Everyone's tired of walking on eggshells around your daughter thing. Put the card back or at least tell us how to fix the booking yourself since you're the one who set it up. Aunt Linda followed 10 minutes later. This is cruel. Children don't process adult teasing the way you think. She probably forgot about it already. You're making her miss out on memories because you're mad. That's not fair to anyone, especially the little ones. Mark, my brother-in-law, sent one short text. Can we talk? This is getting out of hand. No elaboration. Typical. I read each one once, felt the familiar twist in my stomach, the old urge to explain, to smooth, to apologize just to stop the noise. I'd done it so many times before. Laughed off Sarah's jokes about adoption papers being temporary, nodded when Mom said, she's not blood, but we love her anyway, paid for group Christmas gifts when no one else contributed, organized the annual lake trip 3 years running because you're good at this stuff. Always the peacemaker, always the one who bent. Not this time. I closed the app, went back inside, and worked through the rest of the day. Emails, meetings, a quick lunch at my desk. Normal. Controlled. When I picked my daughter up at 3:15, she ran out with a painting of a volcano erupting in red and orange crayon. It's for you, she said, thrusting it at me. I hung it on the fridge the second we got home. That evening, the voicemails kept coming. Mom left 3 more. The last one was quieter, almost pleading. I've tried so hard to keep this family together. All I want is for my grandchildren to have happy memories. Don't choose a grudge over that. Please. Grandchildren. Plural. The word landed like a slap and a lifeline at the same time. In that sentence, my daughter existed. In the dinner conversation, she hadn't. I saved that voicemail, listened to it twice while washing dishes. Then I deleted it. Friday morning, the resort sent the final automated warning. 48-hour notice expired. Reservation released. Thank you for choosing us. I saw the email while drinking coffee. No panic, no second guessing. Just confirmation. Sarah texted the group an hour later. Suite's gone, same dates, next best option is a 2-bedroom with partial view. $2,740 total now. $400 more because of this nonsense. Who's covering the difference? Mom replied, we'll split it. I'll do half if you and Linda take the rest. No one asked me for money. Pride, maybe. Or they knew I wouldn't budge. I spent that afternoon planning our own trip instead. Searched the state park website on my phone while my daughter napped. Found an available cabin, small, 1 room with bunk beds, tiny kitchenette, steps to a creek. $210 for 3 nights. Booked it instantly. Printed the confirmation, tucked it into the folder where I kept her birth certificate and vaccination records. Safe place. Saturday, we packed. She chose which stuffed animals got to come. 3, a rabbit, a penguin, a dinosaur. I packed snacks, goldfish crackers, string cheese, grapes, hiking shoes for both of us, bug spray, a flashlight, and her favorite blanket. She asked once, tentatively, are we still going to the big beach with everyone? I knelt in front of her. We're going somewhere even better, just us. Trees, a creek, maybe frogs. You'll love it. She studied my face for a second, then grinned. Frogs? Real ones? Real ones. Sunday, the family left for the coast. I saw the evidence later. Sarah posted a photo of the car loaded with coolers and beach chairs, captioned, "Family road trip begins." Mom reposted it with heart emojis. No tag for me, no mention of the empty seats. Meanwhile, we drove 2 hours north. The park entrance smelled like pine and damp earth. Our cabin was number 14. Wood siding, green metal roof, a small porch with 2 Adirondack chairs. Inside, bunk beds with thin mattresses, a table that folded down from the wall, a 2-burner stove. My daughter climbed the ladder to the top bunk immediately. "I'm the lookout," she declared. We spent the afternoon on the trail behind the cabin. She found a frog within 20 minutes. Small, green, slippery. Held it in cupped hands until it jumped away. Laughed so hard she hiccuped. We made s'mores over the fire pit that night, marshmallows charred black because she liked them that way. She fell asleep on my lap in the chair, sticky fingers on my shirt, head heavy against my chest. Back home Monday evening, I scrolled past the beach photos that had started appearing. Kids in the surf, sand castles, sunset dinners. Smiles that looked genuine enough, but I knew the undercurrent. The extra $400, the smaller room, the blame still simmering in private texts. Aunt Linda called Tuesday. I let it go to voicemail. "Your mom's really hurting. She just wants her family back together. Can you at least talk to her?" I didn't call back. That week, I thought about the word grudge. Mom used it like a weapon. But holding people accountable isn't a grudge, it's clarity. I'd spent years collecting small hurts, comments, exclusions, assumptions, and letting them slide because confrontation felt worse than silence. Dinner changed the math. When the hurt landed on my daughter's face, silence stopped being an option. She still asks sometimes about the real family comment. I answer the same way every time. Some people say things when they're not thinking, but you belong here. You belong with me, always. She nods, moves on to the next question, about school, about frogs, about what's for dinner. The family trip photos keep coming. I don't like them, don't comment, don't engage. Our cabin pictures are in a small album on my phone. Her holding the frog, us by the fire, her asleep in the bunk with arm hanging down. Those feel truer. I haven't spoken to Mom directly since that night. She routes messages through Aunt Linda. She misses you. She's sorry it came out that way. But no direct apology, no acknowledgement that the words hurt a child. So I stay quiet. Boundaries aren't dramatic. They're survival. And for the first time in years, I'm not shrinking to fit their version of family. I'm building my own. The reservation vanishing triggered a different kind of chaos, one I watched from a distance, like standing on the opposite side of a river while the current pulled everything downstream. Friday afternoon, the resort's final email landed in my inbox. "Your reservation has been released due to non-payment. We apologize for any inconvenience." No drama in the wording, just cold finality. I read it twice while sitting in the car outside my daughter's school, engine idling, radio low. Then I deleted it. No need to keep proof of something already done. Sarah moved fast. Within an hour, she posted in the family group chat, still including me, though I hadn't responded in days. Original suite gone. Resort has a 2-bedroom, partial view unit, same dates. $2,740 total, $400 more than planned. Mom says she'll cover half if Linda and Mark split the rest, confirming now unless someone has a better idea. No apology, no acknowledgement of why the original booking evaporated, just logistics and a subtle jab at the extra cost. Mom replied almost immediately, "I'll do $1,370. We can't lose the week entirely. Kids need this." Aunt Linda chimed in, "I can do $685. Let's lock it before it disappears too." Mark sent a thumbs up emoji, no words. The transaction happened quietly after that. Venmo transfers probably, or credit cards over the phone. They didn't ask me to chip in. Either they assumed I wouldn't, or the optics of begging after everything felt too raw. I stayed out of the thread, muted notifications, focused on the afternoon pickup. My daughter climbed into the back seat with her backpack slung over one shoulder, volcano painting from earlier still clutched in her hand. "Teacher said it's the best eruption she's seen all year," she announced. I laughed, real, not forced, and told her we'd frame it when we got home. That evening, I finalized our own plans. The state park cabin confirmation had come through email the day before, but I hadn't told her details yet. Over dinner, grilled cheese and tomato soup, I laid it out. Next weekend, we're going on our trip. A little wooden house in the woods right by a stream. There's a trail where people find frogs and salamanders. We can roast marshmallows at night. Her eyes widened. "A real cabin? Like in stories?" "Exactly like in stories. Bunk beds, too. You get the top one." She bounced in her chair. "Can I bring my flashlight and the dinosaur?" "Both. And the rabbit and penguin if they fit." She spent the rest of the meal planning what we'd do first. Hike, frog hunt, or marshmallow roast. No mention of the beach, no questions about why plans changed. Kids adapt faster than adults give them credit for. Meanwhile, the family trip logistics rolled forward. Saturday morning, Sarah texted the group a photo of her packed minivan. Coolers strapped in, beach towels folded, kids' floaties visible through the windows. Caption, "Coastal countdown starts now." Mom reposted it to her own feed with 3 heart emojis and "making memories." No one tagged me, no private message asking if I'd changed my mind. The exclusion felt deliberate, almost tidy. I packed our car Sunday morning while my daughter helped by carrying armloads of stuffed animals to the trunk. We left at 10. The drive north took just under 2 hours, highway giving way to 2-lane roads lined with pines, then gravel crunching under tires as we entered the park. Check-in was a small wooden office with a ranger who handed over the key and a map marked with trailheads. Cabin 14 sat at the end of a short loop road, isolated enough to feel private, but close to the main path. The place was basic and perfect. Single main room with a wood stove, fold-down table, 2-burner hot plate, tiny fridge. Bunk beds against a wall, lower one made up with scratchy sheets, upper with a thin rail I checked twice for safety. A narrow porch overlooked the creek, water clear and fast-moving over smooth stones. My daughter ran straight to the ladder, scrambled up, and declared herself queen of the cabin. I laughed harder than I had in weeks. We hit the trail behind the cabin right after unpacking. Sun filtered through the canopy in patches, air thick with pine and wet earth. She spotted the first frog 10 minutes in, bright green, thumb-sized, perched on a leaf. She crouched, hands cupped, whispering, "Don't hop away, little guy." It stayed long enough for her to study its eyes before it leapt into the underbrush. She chased it for 20 yards, giggling the whole way, then came back flushed and triumphant. He was so fast! We walked another mile, found a shallow pool where she dipped her toes, collected 5 different kinds of leaves to press later. Back at the cabin, we built a small fire in the pit outside. She threaded marshmallows onto sticks, insisted on burning hers black, then ate it anyway, chocolate smeared across her chin. We sat until the stars came out, more than I'd seen in the city for years. She leaned against me, quiet for once, watching the embers pop. That night, she climbed into the top bunk, flashlight clutched like a talisman. I read her 2 chapters from the book we'd brought, about a girl who finds a hidden forest. Halfway through the second, she interrupted. "Mammy, do you think the frogs have families?" I paused. "I bet they do. Little frog moms and dads watching from the reeds." She nodded, satisfied. "Good. Everyone needs a family." Then she rolled over and fell asleep, one arm dangling off the edge. Monday, we hiked again, this time to a small waterfall the ranger had mentioned. Water rushed over mossy rocks, mist rising in the sun. She threw sticks into the current, watched them disappear around the bend. We ate peanut butter sandwiches on a flat boulder, shared a bag of grapes. No schedule, no one else's agenda, just the 2 of us deciding what came next. We drove home late afternoon, her asleep in the booster seat, face pressed against the window, leaf collection in a Ziploc on the floor mat. I kept the radio off, let the quiet settle. The trip hadn't cost much, gas, cabin fee, groceries, but it felt richer than any resort suite could have been. Back in the city, the beach photos started rolling in. Sarah posted a carousel, kids knee-deep in surf, sand castles with moats, group dinner at a picnic table with paper plates and lobster bibs, captions full of exclamation points. "Perfect day! Sun, sand, and family!" Mom commented on every one, so grateful for this time together. I scrolled past without liking. No bitterness, just observation. Aunt Linda called Tuesday evening while I was making dinner. I let it ring, listened to the voicemail later. "Your mom's having a hard time with all this. She keeps saying she just wants everyone under one roof again. Maybe give her a call. No pressure." I saved the message but didn't return it. The silence from Mom felt heavier than the calls had. No direct contact since the dinner, only these routed messages through her sister, like she couldn't face saying the words herself. I understood the tactic, kept distance while still applying guilt. But guilt only works if you let it. I thought about her voicemail from earlier, the one about grandchildren and memories. She'd said grandchildren like it included my daughter, but the actions never had. The laugh at dinner, the casual exclusions over years, the way Sarah's comment landed and no one corrected it, those weren't accidents, they were patterns. Cutting the card wasn't revenge, it was consequence. I'd carried the weight of planning, paying, organizing for too long. When they laughed at her expense, they also laughed at mine, at the effort I'd put in, the money I'd spent, the hope I'd held that one day the family would see us both fully. Now, the weight was gone. I felt lighter, clearer. My daughter still asked occasional questions about the beach, but they faded fast. She talked more about the frog, the waterfall, the way the bunk bed creaked when she rolled over. Those were her memories now. I started filling our calendar with smaller things. Library story hour, weekend park picnics, a pottery class she'd seen advertised. No grand gestures, just consistent presence. She thrived in it. So did I. The family keeps posting. I keep scrolling past. No bridges burned, just one quietly dismantled. And on the other side, something sturdier taking shape. The extra $400 hit them harder than the lost suite. Sarah mentioned it again in the group chat the day they checked in. View's not as good, room feels cramped with the kids' stuff everywhere, but we're making it work. Thanks for the upgrade fee, sis. She didn't tag me directly, but the sarcasm landed clear. I saw the message pop up on my locked screen while folding laundry. Didn't open it, didn't reply. Muted the thread permanently that afternoon. They arrived at the resort Sunday evening. Photos started trickling in Monday, first from Sarah's stories, then Mom's feed. A quick clip of the kids running toward the pool, towels flapping, a still at the balcony at dusk, ocean in the background but partially blocked by palm trees. Dinner shots, platters of shrimp, corn on the cob, paper plates stacked high. Everyone smiling in the group selfie, arms around shoulders, the kind of photo that looks perfect if you don't know the backstory. I didn't linger on them, scrolled past while waiting for the kettle to boil. My daughter was already in pajamas, sitting cross-legged on the living room rug with her leaf collection spread out like treasure. She'd pressed them between wax paper using an old iron I'd dug out of the closet. "This one looks like a heart," she said, holding up a red maple. "Can we hang it on the fridge next to the volcano?" "Sure, right in the middle." We taped them up together, her standing on a stool so she could reach. Afterward, she asked for hot chocolate. I made 2 mugs, hers with extra marshmallows, and we drank them on the couch while she told me every detail of the frog chase again. No beach envy, no questions about cousins or aunts, just the memory she wanted to keep reliving. Back at the resort, things weren't as seamless as the post suggested. Sarah vented in a separate text to Mom and Aunt Linda. I only knew because Aunt forwarded it to me later, probably hoping I'd feel guilty. "Kids keep asking why the room's smaller. Told them it's an adventure. But seriously, the balcony's tiny, barely fits 2 chairs, and the AC sounds like a dying lawnmower." Mom replied with a praying hands emoji and, "We're still together, that's what matters." No mention of the reason behind the downgrade. I deleted the forward without responding. Aunt tried calling twice that week, left short voicemails both times. "Your mom's walking around like she lost something. She keeps looking at old photos. Just thought you should know." The second one added, "She said to tell you she's sorry if things got heated at dinner. Maybe that helps." Not an apology, not even close, just a relayed if. I saved them in a folder labeled family and left them there. By midweek, the beach content shifted tone slightly. More close-ups of the kids, building lopsided sandcastles, burying Mark's legs, chasing waves. Fewer wide shots of the group. Maybe the cramped room made gathering for photos awkward. Maybe the undercurrent of tension showed on faces when the camera wasn't quick enough. Either way, the captions stayed upbeat. Sunshine therapy. Best week. I noticed Mom hadn't posted anything new since Tuesday. Her last one was the group dinner, tagged with grateful hearts. Our days stayed simple. Tuesday after work, I took my daughter to the library. She picked out 3 books, one about amphibians, one about camping, one with glow-in-the-dark stars on the cover. We read them in bed that night, her head on my shoulder, finger-tracing pictures. Wednesday, we made cookies, chocolate chip, slightly burned on the bottom because we got distracted playing Go Fish. Thursday, she had soccer practice. I sat on the bleachers with a thermos of coffee, cheering every time she kicked the ball even close to the goal. Friday evening, Aunt texted directly. "Mom asked me to ask if you're coming to the 4th of July barbecue next month. She's planning to make your favorite potato salad. No pressure." I stared at the message for a full minute. The barbecue had been an annual thing for 15 years. Same backyard, same menu, same people pretending old grudges didn't exist. I'd always brought dessert, helped set up tables, cleaned up afterwards. This year I pictured showing up, my daughter in a sundress, everyone smiling too wide, avoiding the topic like it was contagious. I typed back, "Not this time. Thanks, though." Sent it, turned off read receipts, put the phone in a drawer. The rest of the family trip wrapped up Saturday. Checkout photos showed tired kids in car seats, sunburned noses, bags piled high. Sarah posted a final reel, a slow pan of the beach at sunrise overlaid with a sappy song about memories. Caption, "Until next year. Love this crew." Comments flooded in from friends. "Looks magical. Jealous." Mom liked it, but didn't comment. Sunday morning, my daughter woke up asking to go back to the cabin. "Can we catch more frogs and sleep in the bunk again?" I told her maybe next month. We'd check the calendar. She accepted it easily, moved on to drawing a picture of the waterfall we'd seen. Crayons scratched across paper while I made pancakes. That afternoon, I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, scrolling through my own camera roll. Cabin shots, her grinning with the green frog in her hands, both of us muddy from the trail, firelight on her face while she roasted a marshmallow to charcoal. One blurry selfie where she'd grabbed the phone and smushed her cheek against mine. No filters, no staging, just us. I realized something sharp and clear. The resort trip would have been fine on paper, waves, pools, family dinners, but it would have carried the same old weight. My daughter asking why Aunt Sarah looked at her funny, me forcing smiles through gritted teeth, me paying for peace that never lasted. Instead, we'd built something smaller, cleaner. No one else's approval required, no unspoken rules about who counted as real. She knew her place because I showed her every day, in frog hunts, in bunk beds, in quiet evenings with hot chocolate and library books. Mom called Monday evening, first direct call since dinner. I watched the screen light up, her name glowing. Let it ring until voicemail picked up. She didn't leave a message. Maybe she'd run out of words. Maybe she finally understood silence went both ways. I didn't call back. The barbecue invite stood unanswered beyond my text to Aunt. I didn't plan to go, didn't need to explain why. Some invitations aren't about inclusion, they're about control. Showing up would mean stepping back into the pattern. Laugh it off, pay up, pretend. I chose different. My daughter finished her waterfall drawing that night, taped it next to the pressed leaves and volcano, stepped back, hands on hips. "Our wall's getting full," she said proudly. "It is," I agreed. "Room for more." She grinned. "Lots more." I hugged her from behind, chin on her head. Outside the window, the streetlights flickered on, ordinary and steady. Inside felt the same. Ordinary, steady. Ours. No resort could match that. The silence stretched longer than I expected after the trip ended. No more frantic calls from Mom, no barrage of texts demanding explanations, just a void where the usual noise used to be. It felt strange at first, like walking into a room you'd always known to be loud and finding it empty. But strange in a good way. Breathing room. Sarah posted one last beach roundup the Monday after they returned. A collage of the best shots. Kids with ice cream dripping down their arms, Mark attempting a handstand in the sand and failing, the group at sunset with arms linked. Caption, grateful for the chaos and the calm. Family makes it all worth it. She tagged everyone except me. Mom liked it, but didn't comment. Aunt Linda commented, beautiful memories. I saw the notifications flash across my screen while I was chopping vegetables for dinner. Closed the app, kept chopping. My daughter helped set the table that night. Plates, napkins, forks in the right order the way I'd taught her. She'd drawn a new picture during quiet time at school. A cabin with smoke curling from the chimney, 2 stick figures holding hands outside, a green blob labeled Frog Friend. We taped it to the growing wall of art in the kitchen. The space was filling up fast. Volcano, leaves, waterfall. Now this. She stepped back, satisfied. Our house looks happy, she said. It did. No forced smiles for photos, no undercurrents, just markers and tape and small daily wins. Tuesday brought the first indirect outreach since the voicemail silence. Aunt Linda texted mid-morning. Your mom mentioned she'd like to see her granddaughter soon. Maybe a quick lunch? She's been baking those oatmeal cookies you both like. No direct ask from Mom, no apology attached. Just bait. Cookies, granddaughter, normalcy dangled like it could erase the dinner laugh. I waited until evening to reply. We're good for now, thanks. Short, clear, no opening for negotiation. She didn't push further that day, but the pattern continued. Thursday, another text. Mom's sorting old photo albums. Found some from when your daughter was a baby. Thought you might want copies. Again, routed through Aunt. Again, no direct line. I didn't respond at all this time. Let the message sit unread. Friday, after school, my daughter had a play date with a classmate. First one in months. They built a fort out of couch cushions in the living room, while I sat on the floor nearby, pretending to read a magazine, but mostly watching them giggle over nothing. The friend's mom picked her up at 6, thanked me for hosting. She talks about your cabin trip all the time, she said. Sounds magical. I smiled. It was. That weekend, we stayed local. Saturday morning, farmer's market, fresh strawberries, a loaf of sourdough, flowers for the table. My daughter picked out a small potted herb. For cooking adventures, she called it. We planted basil on the windowsill that afternoon. Sunday, we went to the park near our house. She rode her bike in circles around the path, ringing the bell every time she passed me on the bench. I waved each lap. Simple. Uncomplicated. Meanwhile, the family orbit kept turning without us. Sarah shared a video of the kids back in swim lessons, splashing in an indoor pool now that summer heat had faded. Mom commented, miss those beach days already. No one reached out to include us in the next plan, whatever it was. No holiday invites yet. The 4th of July barbecue came and went. I saw a single photo on Aunt's feed. Backyard tables, grill smoke, kids with sparklers. Mom in the background holding a plate, smile tight. I didn't linger. The quiet gave me space to notice things I'd ignored before. How often I used to check the family chat first thing in the morning, bracing for whatever new request or complaint waited. How I'd automatically volunteer for tasks, booking, paying, organizing, because saying no felt like betrayal. How my daughter's questions about why Aunt Sarah said that had tapered off completely. She didn't bring up the beach anymore. The cabin frog had taken its place in her stories. One evening, mid-month, I sat on the porch after she had gone to bed. Street quiet except for crickets. I pulled up the resort site on my phone, not to book anything, just to look. The same suite we'd lost was available again, same price. I stared at the photos. Balcony view, king beds, kitchenette stocked with coffee. Could have been ours if I'd kept the card attached, if I'd swallowed the hurt one more time. I closed the tab. No regret. The view from our cabin porch, creek running, trees whispering, beat any oceanfront balcony built on conditional belonging. Aunt tried one more time the following week. Phone call this time, not text. I answered. First direct family voice I'd heard since dinner. Hey, she said, tentative. Just checking in. Your mom's... she's not herself. Keeps saying she ruined everything. I told her to call you directly, but you know how she is. I do, I said. She wants to make it right. Maybe start small. Cassie, bring the little one? I paused, let the silence sit. I appreciate you passing the message, but we're okay for now. We need space. She sighed. I get it. I'll tell her. We hung up. No anger in her tone, no pleading, just acceptance. That night, I read my daughter an extra chapter. She fell asleep mid-sentence, book open on her chest. I tucked her in, turned off the lamp, and stood in the doorway a minute watching her breathe. Steady, safe. The next morning, she woke up asking for pancakes. We made them together, her cracking eggs, mostly, me flipping. Syrup everywhere, laughter over the mess. No one else's opinion mattered in that kitchen. I stopped checking social media feeds from the family, muted them all. Not out of spite, out of protection. Their highlights didn't need to compete with our ordinary days. Boundaries held, the space felt less like distance and more like clarity. My daughter wasn't missing memories, she was making better ones without footnotes about who counted as real. And me? I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight anymore. That alone made every quiet morning worth it. Instead, we planned our own mini getaway for Labor Day weekend. Same state park, different cabin, this one with a small dock on the lake. Booked it in 5 minutes online. When I told my daughter, she jumped up and down. Can we fish? Can we swim? Can we find more frogs? Yes, to all three. We left Friday after camp pickup. The drive felt familiar now. Highway fading to back roads, pine scent growing stronger. The new cabin sat right on the water. Porch steps led straight to a short dock, canoe tied up. Inside, same bunk beds, same wood stove smell. She claimed the top bunk again, stuffed animals lined up like soldiers. Saturday, we canoed. Her in front, paddle dipping wildly, giggling every time water splashed her. We caught 2 small fish, released them after photos. Sunday, we swam off the dock, her wearing floaties shaped like flamingos. She practiced blowing bubbles, then dog paddled to me, arms around my neck. This is better than any beach, she declared, dripping and grinning. Monday, we hiked a new trail, found a hidden cove with flat rocks perfect for skipping stones. She got 5 skips on her best throw. We ate sandwiches there, feet in the water, talking about nothing important. Favorite colors, what frogs dream about, whether dinosaurs liked pancakes. Back at the cabin, we built a fire, roasted hot dogs, made s'mores. She fell asleep early, exhausted, one hand still clutching a smooth stone she'd kept. Driving home Tuesday, she slept most of the way, cheek pressed to the window. I kept the radio low, let my thoughts wander. The lake house photos from Sarah's feed had appeared while we were gone. Group shots on a dock, kids tubing, barbecue smoke, same smiles, same poses. I glanced at them once at a rest stop, felt nothing sharp. No envy, no anger, just recognition. Their version of family still required the same old rules, ours didn't. Back in routine, the bracelet on my wrist had faded to pale threads. I didn't replace it, let it wear naturally, like the memory it carried. Mom broke the direct silence in mid-September. A single text, no preamble. I miss her voice. Can I call her sometime? No, I'm sorry, no mention of dinner or the trip, just that. I stared at the words for a long minute, then typed, "Not yet. We need more time." Sent it. Turned off notifications from her number. She didn't reply, didn't push. My daughter started first grade the next week. New backpack, new lunchbox, new stories every afternoon about recess and art class. She still wore the same sneakers from the cabin trip, mud stains on the toes, laces frayed. I didn't make her throw them out. Some things you keep until they fall apart. The family kept moving in their circle. I stayed in ours. Smaller, steadier, no apologies demanded, no explanations owed. And every time she climbed into the bunk bed at home, pretending it was the cabin, I knew the choice had been right. Not dramatic, not punitive, just honest. Real family doesn't need a resort suite to prove it exists. Fall arrived quietly, leaves turning gold and red outside our windows, while the house stayed the same steady temperature. My daughter started bringing home artwork with autumn themes. Pumpkins drawn in orange crayon, trees with branches like fingers reaching up. We hung them on the growing kitchen wall until there was barely space left between the frog, the volcano, and the pressed leaves from the cabin. She stood back one afternoon, hands on hips. "It's like our own museum," she said. I agreed. No admission fee, no one else deciding what belonged on display. School routines solidified. Drop off at 8:15, pick up at 3. She joined the after-school art club on Wednesdays, came home with clay sculptures and paint under her nails. Thursdays were library day. We walked there together, her hand in mine, backpack bouncing. She picked books about animals mostly. Owls, foxes, more frogs. We read them snuggled on the couch, her head on my shoulder, voice soft when she sounded out hard words. The family remained distant, a background hum rather than a constant pull. Sarah posted about Halloween plans early. Costumes ordered, pumpkin patch visits scheduled, group photo of the kids trying on witch hats and dinosaur tails. Mom commented, "Can't wait to see my little monsters." No outreach to us, no, "What are you two dressing as?" I didn't expect it anymore, didn't feel the sting. We carved our own pumpkins the weekend before Halloween, bought 3 at the grocery store, small ones because she wanted to carry them herself. We spread newspaper on the kitchen floor, scooped out seeds, drew faces with markers first. Hers had triangle eyes and a big toothy grin. Mine was simpler, 2 circles for eyes, a curved mouth. We lit them on the porch that night with battery candles because real ones felt too risky. She sat on the steps watching the glow flicker, wrapped in a blanket. "They look friendly," she said. We ate roasted pumpkin seeds seasoned with salt and cinnamon, crunching them while the neighborhood kids trick-or-treated down the street. I took her out for candy later, her in a frog costume she'd insisted on since the cabin trip. Green hoodie with felt spots, paper lily pad pinned to her back. We only went to 3 houses before she declared she had enough. Back home, she sorted her haul on the living room rug. Chocolates in one pile, gummies in another, lollipops standing like soldiers. "We can share," she offered. We ate 1 piece each before bed. November brought cooler air and the first holiday whispers. Aunt Linda texted on the 1st. "Thanksgiving plans shaping up? Mom's hosting, usual crowd. She'd love to see you both. No pressure, just turkey and pie." The message sat for 2 days before I answered, "We're doing our own this year. Have a good one." No explanation, no softening. She replied with a single, "Okay," and a heart emoji. That was it. We spent Thanksgiving at home, roasted a small turkey breast because the full bird felt excessive for two, made mashed potatoes from scratch, her job was mashing, lots of butter and a splash of milk, green beans with almonds, cranberry sauce from the can because she liked the ridges. For dessert, apple pie from the bakery down the street, warmed with vanilla ice cream. We ate at the table with candles lit, no TV, just talking. She told me about the class play they were practicing, something about pilgrims and Native Americans. I listened, asked questions, felt grateful for the quiet. After dinner, we bundled up and walked to the park, the playground empty except for us. She swung on the swings while I pushed, chains creaking in rhythm, leaves crunched underfoot. No big family table, no forced small talk, no one laughing at old jokes that weren't funny anymore. Just cold air, her laughter echoing, my breath visible in puffs. Black Friday came and went without shopping trips or sales frenzy. We stayed in, baked cookies, gingerbread this time, cut into stars and trees. We decorated them with icing and sprinkles, tongue poking out in concentration. We packaged half to take to her teacher next week. The other half we ate while watching an old animated movie about a snowman who comes to life. December crept in with string lights on houses and carols on the radio. Sarah posted about tree trimming day, kids hanging ornaments, mom in the background directing, caption, traditions that matter most. I scrolled past. Our tree was small, artificial, set up in the corner by the window. We decorated it together one Saturday, her reaching high for the top branches, me steadying the ladder. Ornaments mostly handmade. Popsicle stick stars from kindergarten, clay handprints from preschool, a glass frog she'd picked out last year. We strung popcorn garlands, added lights that blinked slowly, topped it with a crooked angel she'd made from paper plates. Christmas morning, she woke early, eyes wide at the wrapped gifts under the tree, books, a new art set, a stuffed otter she'd mentioned once. We opened them slowly, pajamas on, hot chocolate steaming. No rush, no crowd. She hugged each gift like it was alive. We spent the day in. Pancakes for breakfast, puzzles on the floor, more movies. Neighbors dropped by with cookies. We gave them gingerbread in return. Simple exchanges, warm but contained. New Year's Eve, we stayed up until midnight, her first time. Watched the ball drop on TV, ate sparkling cider from plastic flutes, banged pots and pans at the window when the clock hit 12. She cheered, hugged me tight. Best year ever, she said, even though it had started with hurt. January rolled in cold and gray. School resumed, routines held. The kitchen wall now overflowed with art. We started a new section on the hallway wall. Frog drawings migrated there, joined by snowman and stars. Mom sent one card for the holidays, handwritten note inside. Thinking of you both. Hope the new year brings peace. No apology, no invitation. I set it on the mantle, next to the frog ornament. Didn't reply. The distance had become normal. Not bitter, not lonely, just chosen. My daughter thrived in the space, confident, curious, secure. She still asked about family sometimes, but the questions were lighter now. Do cousins like frogs too? I answered honestly, maybe, but we have the best frog stories. And we did. No resort could compete with that. Winter deepened, the kind of cold that seeps through window frames and makes the house feel smaller, warmer by contrast. My daughter's art wall had expanded down the hallway, now a gallery of snowflakes cut from folded paper, mittens traced in blue marker, a lopsided snowman with coal eyes and a carrot nose drawn crooked. She added to it daily, tape dispenser always within reach. This one's for the new year, she said one evening, sticking up a drawing of two figures building a snow fort. One wore a scarf, the other had frog spots on its coat. I smiled and helped smooth the edges flat. School kept her busy. Spelling tests, math facts, a science unit on hibernation. She came home reciting facts about bears and frogs burying themselves in mud. Frogs sleep all winter, she informed me over snack. They don't need hot chocolate, but we do. We made it that afternoon. Extra marshmallows for her, cinnamon for me. Sat at the table while she practiced words for the week. Family, belong, together. She paused on belong, looked up. We belong here, right? I nodded. Always. She went back to her list, satisfied. The family stayed in their lane. Sarah posted holiday cards, professional photos of the kids in matching sweaters, Mom beaming in the center. Caption, another year of love and laughter. Comments poured in from distant cousins, old friends. No space left for questions about us. Mom liked every post, but posted none herself. Aunt Linda sent a single text for New Year's, wishing you both a peaceful 2026. I replied with a thumbs up emoji. Minimal, civil, enough. February brought the first real snow of the season, 6 inches overnight. School closed. We stayed in pajamas all day, built a snowman in the backyard, her rolling the body while I lifted the heavy parts. She gave it stick arms, a pine cone nose, buttons from an old coat. We named it Hopper, after the cabin frog. She talked to it while we worked. Don't melt too fast, okay? We just met. Later, we made snow angels side by side, arms sweeping wide, laughing when snow went down our collars. Inside, we stripped wet layers, hung them over chairs to dry. Hot cocoa again, this time with whipped cream peaks that collapsed slowly. That night, she asked about the breach trip again. Not with longing, just curiosity. Do you think they had snow there? I shook my head. No, it's warm, but they didn't have Hopper. She nodded, thoughtful. I like our snow better. Then she moved on to asking if frogs dream in winter. I told her probably, of creeks and lily pads. She fell asleep smiling. March arrived with longer days, hints of thaw. The snowman lost his head first, then his body slumped into a sad pile. She didn't mourn it long, already planning spring. We should go back to the cabin when it's green, she said one morning over cereal. Find where the frogs wake up. I checked the park website that afternoon. Cabins available in April. Booked one for a long weekend. Same area, different site, closer to the lake this time. Told her over dinner. Her fork clattered. Really? With bunk beds? And frogs, I added. She cheered loud the neighbors probably heard. The booking felt like closing a circle. Not the same trip we'd lost, but something earned. No deposit drama, no group split, just my card, my dates, our plans. Aunt Linda reached out again mid-month. Phone call this time. I answered after 2 rings. Hey, she said. Your mom's been asking about spring break. Wondered if you'd consider coming for Easter. She's planning an egg hunt in the yard. The kids would love to see her. Pause. She misses you both. I leaned against the kitchen counter, watching my daughter color at the table. We've got plans. Cabin trip. She's excited about it. Silence on the line. Then, okay, I'll tell her. Maybe next time. Maybe, I echoed. We hung up. Easter came. They posted photos. Kids with baskets, dyed eggs hidden in bushes, Mom kneeling to help the youngest find one, smiles wide. No empty spots visible in the frame. We spent the day at the cabin early. Arrived Friday night. The place smelled of pine and damp earth. She ran to the bunk beds, claimed the top. Saturday, we hiked to the creek. Found frogs already active. Small ones leaping from rock to rock. She caught one gently, held for a photo, released it with a whisper. See you next time. Sunday, we dyed eggs with food coloring kits we'd brought. Blue, purple, green. She made patterns with stickers, wrote Hopper on one. We hid them around the cabin porch, hunted them ourselves, and laughed when she found the same one twice. Dinner was simple. Sandwiches, chips, chocolate bunnies for dessert. No formal table, no prayers recited out of habit. Just us, talking about what frogs might eat for Easter. Driving home Monday, she slept with an egg cradled in her lap. The bracelet from last summer had finally snapped during the hike, threads worn through. I tucked the pieces into my pocket, didn't replace it. Some things end naturally. Back in the city, routines resumed. Art on the walls multiplied, school projects piled up. The family kept their distance, and I kept mine. No bridges rebuilt, no apologies demanded or offered, just parallel paths. My daughters still asked occasional questions about cousins, aunts, uncles, grandma. I answered honestly. They're doing their thing, we're doing ours. She accepted it, thrived in the clarity. Looking back, removing the card hadn't been about punishment. It was about stopping the cycle, stopping the shrinking, the excusing, the paying for belonging that came with strings. What replaced it wasn't emptiness, it was space. Room for frog hunts, bunk beds, snow angels, quiet mornings with hot chocolate. Room for us. And that turned out to be more than enough. Spring unfolded slowly, the way it does in the city. First crocuses pushing through cracked sidewalk edges, then daffodils in pots on front steps. My daughter turned 8 in April. We celebrated quietly. Homemade cake with blue frosting, her choice, candles that flickered when she blew them out too hard, a small stack of gifts, new sketchbook, colored pencils, a frog-shaped piggy bank she'd seen online and begged for. She wore the frog hoodie from Halloween, now a little short in the sleeves. We spent the afternoon at the local park, kite flying because the wind was perfect. The kite, a cheap diamond shape with a long tail, tangled twice, but she laughed each time we untangled it. It's flying like a real frog jumping, she said. We ate cupcakes on a blanket, watched clouds, went home sticky and sun-warmed. The cabin trip we'd booked came 2 weeks later. Same park, different loop, closer to the water this time, with a longer trail along the creek. We arrived Friday after school pickup. She ran ahead to check the bunk beds, declared the top one even better than last time. We unpacked, snacks, books, her new sketchbook, binoculars she'd gotten for her birthday to spot frog families. Saturday morning, we hiked early. The creek ran higher from spring melt, water clear and cold. Frogs were everywhere, small green ones sunning on rocks, bigger brown ones hiding in reeds. She caught 3, held each gently for a minute, sketched quick outlines in her book before letting them go. They're waking up from winter, she explained seriously. They need breakfast. We picnicked by the water, peanut butter sandwiches, apples, cheese sticks. She talked nonstop about school friends, a boy who traded her a shiny rock for a gummy worm, how she wanted to be a scientist who studies frogs when she grew up. I listened, asked questions, felt the old tightness in my chest loosen further. No one else's voice in her head telling her she didn't belong, just her plans, her curiosity, her place right here. Sunday, we canoed again, her paddling stronger now, strokes more even. We drifted to a quiet cove, watched minnows dart under the boat. She trailed her fingers in the water, laughed when a fish nibbled her fingertip. Back at the cabin, we built a fire pit dinner, foil packets with potatoes, carrots, sausage. She roasted marshmallows until they caught fire, blew them out, ate the charred remains happily. That night, she fell asleep fast, sketchbook open to a half-finished frog drawing, pencil still in her hand. Driving home Monday, she chattered about the next trip. Maybe summer when the fireflies come? I told her we'd check dates. She nodded, content. The radio played low. She sang along to parts she knew. No questions about grandma or cousins. Those had faded to occasional mentions, like characters from an old book she used to read. Back in routine, the kitchen wall gallery kept growing. New additions, frog sketches from the cabin, a pressed wildflower she'd found on the trail, a birthday card she'd drawn for herself just because. The hallway wall filled too, overflow from the kitchen. I bought more tape, let her decide placement. It's our story wall, she said one evening, stepping back to admire. Every picture is a piece of us. May brought end-of-year school events, a talent show where she recited a poem about seasons, a field day where she won third place in the sack race. I sat in the bleachers both times, cheering loud enough for her to hear. No family there to share the moments, no one asking for photos afterwards. The absence felt neutral now, not a loss, just fact. Sarah's feed stayed active. Kids' soccer games, family picnics, mom in the center of most shots. One post caught my eye, a backyard barbecue for Memorial Day. Same tables as the 4th, same string lights. Mom in the foreground, holding a plate of burgers, smile wide but eyes distant. Caption, "Summer starting strong." I scrolled past without pause. Aunt Linda texted once in June. "Your mom's health check came back okay, but she's been tired. She talks about you two a lot. If you ever want to visit, doors open." No guilt trip this time, just information. I replied, "Glad she's okay. We're good here." She sent back a simple, "Understood." Summer stretched ahead. Camp for my daughter, work for me, weekends free for small adventures. We planned day trips, aquarium, botanical garden, another park hike. No big resort dreams, no group plans to juggle. Just our calendar, our pace. Looking back over the year since that dinner, the shift felt less like a break and more like a redirection. I'd removed a card, but really I'd removed the expectation that belonging required payment, in money, in silence, in shrinking myself to fit. What grew in its place was simpler. Trust between us, space for her to be fully herself, room for me to stop apologizing for protecting that. She still had questions sometimes. Why doesn't Grandma call? I answered honestly. She's figuring things out. We're figuring ours. She nodded, moved on to whatever occupied her next, drawing, reading, planning the next frog hunt. The wall kept filling, photos printed from the phone, her with binoculars, us on the dock, hopper sketches taped in rows. One day, she pointed to an empty spot near the top. "Room for more stories," she said. Plenty of room. We filled it slowly, one day at a time. No rush, no audience required, just us writing the rest.